In my last video, I explained how I use the Hamaguchi app first phrases with a student of mine who is in Head Start. And now I'm going to show you how I use Picture the Sentence, also by Hamaguchi apps, with my student D. Now, in Picture the Sentence, as with all other Hamaguchi apps, you have the capability of changing all of the settings. So you can change the difficulty level. So right now I'm going to make it easy, because when I started using this app with D, who was having difficulty with expressive language and only producing 1 to 2 word phrases to request and comment, I knew that she would need to start out with easy, which is slow presentation rate, and then the icons stay on the screen after you're finished. And with her, she needs a little bit more wait time so that she can process the information, so I'm going to leave that at 5 seconds. The visual cues are going to be color drawings instead of stick figures. There's going to be a door game, which you'll see in a minute, after 3 correct responses. And I'm going to choose pronouns he, she, and they, since those types of pronouns actually refer to students in her classroom. And I'm going to start out easy for her. So I'm going to start out with subject and verb. And then we get to play.
It's time to play Picture the Sentence. I will tell you a sentence. Think about what the words mean, then find the matching picture. She is sleeping. Now, picture the sentence in your mind and try to remember it.
So we're waiting. Okay, now my student has to remember that the narrator said she is sleeping. And that the
picture shows that sentence. Touch it and drag it into the empty picture frame.
So we're going to touch it and we're going to drag it to the empty picture frame.
She is sleeping.
Okay, and then they give you a response, she is sleeping, and a congratulations. Perfect, they say. So what I do from here is I don't just use it as a receptive app, although that's the main purpose. I also use it as an expressive app. So I require my students to say, she is sleeping, before we can go on to the next sentence. And I also require my students to say, or to talk about, the 3 sentences at the bottom here. They are standing, she is eating. Or a little bit more sophisticated, they are waiting, she is eating a banana. And I typically give them a model and let them repeat what I've said. Now the thing I love about Hamaguchi apps is they don't just go on to the next sentence. You have to physically push a button to go to the next sentence. So this allows you time as a therapist to talk about all of the different pictures. So if you had kids that were a little bit more sophisticated than my student D, you could say, the girl in the pink shirt is eating a banana. What season is it? It's summer. How do we know? The kids are wearing shorts and short sleeve shirts. Why is the girl sleeping? She's sleeping because she's tired. So you can do a lot of things with these apps, because the author of the app, Patty Hamaguchi, gives you time to talk about the pictures before going on to the next sentence. Again, wait time.
Is drinking.
Slow presentation for the students to be able to process the information. He is drinking.
He is drinking.
You move it up.
Congratulations.
Again, my students are required to say, he is sleeping. She is crawling. He is drinking. And if you can see up here, there's data collection up here.
Is walking.
And as you know from Brown's grammatical morphemes, ing is one of the first grammatical morphemes that are developed. That's what makes these apps so great.
Yes.
because they follow exactly what I want my students to learn. So, my students' favorite part.
Open the doors until you find the animal. Which one will you find?
This is my students' favorite part of the entire app, because they get to open the door and find an animal. Now, the great thing about this is this isn't just a game. You can also use this as a learning experience. Oh no, the green door is empty.
You found me.
I found the mouse. He was behind the red door. So that is how I use Picture the Sentence with my students to not only work on receptive language, but to also work on expressive language. So as with all of the Hamaguchi apps, you can use these apps for everything. They're very versatile. They're completely customizable, which means that you can change every aspect of the app. You can change the amount of time students are given, the amount of, or the difficulty level of the sentences that the students are given, the amount of answers they need to get correct before they get to this really cool door game. Just clinically fantastic. So I've been talking about my student D using first phrases and using Picture the Sentence. But I also want to tell you about another student of mine who I believe is on the autism spectrum, although she's currently undiagnosed. She has very limited expressive language, and she often plays by herself in the classroom. She's very quiet, so she often goes kind of unnoticed in the background, and she sits by herself a lot and plays by herself. And when the teacher asks her a question, she often does not respond. So the primary concern for this student in the classroom was her expressive language. However, she was not following directions, and she was not able to complete tasks that were verbalized by the teacher. So I really was a little bit concerned that she was also having a lot of difficulty understanding sentence grammar. So in order to determine whether or not she was having difficulty with sentence grammar, I decided that I would use Picture the Sentence as a kind of like informal assessment of her.
It's time to play Picture the Sentence. I will tell you a sentence. Think about what the words mean, then find the matching picture. She is playing with the plane.
So, amazingly,
Picture the sentence in your mind and try to remember it.
the student was very attentive and immediately picked the correct picture.
She's playing with the plane.
And she did that 20
Nice
times
work.
in one session. Then when I gave her a sentence to talk about the picture, she was able to imitate my model. But she wasn't able to express it on her own. Now, this was when we first started therapy. Later on, I started doing more advanced sentences with her, and then she was actually able to describe the picture on her own at the end of therapy in May. And I really attribute Picture the Sentence. I really give them a lot of credit, because if I did not have this app, I would not have known that my student understood sentences and understood the nuances of grammar in sentences. And with that information, I was able to go to the teacher and say to her, you can use very simple language with this student to give her directions, but give her time to process the information and then allow her time to follow through. So in the classroom, we actually implemented a picture symbol type of direction system for this student, and then she was able to successfully follow directions for classroom activities.